Hello and welcome back to the Sekimeiya Spun glass. Got a new background image there. If you hadn't noticed, I don't know if I started enough episodes from the title screen for you to notice, but every chapter gets like a new screen for it. Before we get started today, I have to quickly mention I have been sick since Tuesday. It is now Saturday, getting better, but the episodes, go up on Monday, so I don't feel like I have the time to get fully healthy again. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see if my voice holds out. It should be fine. It's not too big of a problem. And I did go through like the past 20 minutes, the last 20 minutes of the last episode again, just so that I'm not completely lost, I hope. But I'm completely lost anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah. Last episode, at the end, we I think we were about to touch the Sekimeiya, to travel back to, I think, about 9 p.m. Before we traveled into the future, into January, I believe. So let's see what happens. Did I change places? I spun. The darkness around me was identical. Wait, the shutter isn't here. I stared in awe. I could see a streetlight within the night, illuminating the snow around it. I was in the lobby of the tower. A light from the reception desk confirmed that. It did work. The alarm hasn't gone off yet. However, when I tried to open the door, it was still locked. Oh, right, so that was what happened. It wasn't like traveling forward to January. It was someone activated the alarm in January just before 9 p.m., which was why the shutter was closed, which was what we're trying to find out now, I believe. The door was still locked. I also noticed that I felt very tired. I really wanted to lie down. Suddenly, a sharp sound echoed in my ears. Did it come from hallway B? Someone's there. Was it Shira? Slowly, I moved closer. I stopped still. No sound could be heard anymore. I didn't know what to do, and I was more than a little afraid. If that was the person who'd killed everyone, I was finally in real danger. The recording had guaranteed my safety for a long time, but as it had already occurred, the promise of my well-being had expired. Huh? What? Though I couldn't see it, I looked at my hand. It hadn't hurt for a while, but it was where I'd suffered a painful injury in the elevator. Amazed, I opened and closed it in succession. I could feel the injury was gone. Why? I traveled to the past with it before and it didn't disappear. It must have had to do with the replicated location, but my attention was again taken by resuming footsteps. Are they Shiria's? I couldn't deny it, but I wasn't sure either. They must have just entered the event room. Are they planning to travel through time? The alarm will probably be activated from there. I'm not sure what the best course of action is. Should I change the past to prevent the alarm from going off? That could be dangerous, though. I could hear faint sounds, but I couldn't make them out. Trying to quickly come to a conclusion, I waited helplessly from a distance. Oh, wait. If this is Shira, she must have entered from the storeroom. Isla might have entered the tower by following her steps. If Isla was able to enter from the outside, the door must have been open. That means that I might be able to leave right now. I tried not to panic. Freedom was potentially in reach, but I couldn't let myself be noticed. Fuck, that's the alarm. A loud sound came from behind me. When I turned around, I saw the streetlight beyond the glass disappearing. The shutter was beginning to cover it, and before I knew it, it was no longer visible. Why couldn't he have just entered through the main door? Exited through the main door? Considering the shutter wasn't closed? No, it doesn't matter. It's not gonna lock the other exit. I stepped back, placing my feet on the floor as slowly as I could. Then, feeling the wall, I walked to the next door. Hallway A extended beyond me. Was the other person still there? I couldn't hear anything. I didn't want to run in case the door was closed. I stepped to the left wall and walked as I counted the rooms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one has to be the storerooms. It's not even closed. When I looked through it, I saw a light. It It was very faint, but it illuminated the narrow walls slightly. Are those the stars? What? No way. Atsuki? From behind, I heard a voice that made me jump. You... It was her, wearing clothes I hadn't seen in a long time. Are you Shira? What? Yes. Where are we? I just appeared here. Both of us just appeared here. The Sekimeiya was activated and the range reached the storeroom. Is this that one time in like chapter, was it 3 or 4? Where Atsuki just appeared with Shira? I believe so. Hold on, isn't that... Behind her was the hallway B door, and on its edges was the dark outline caused by the smoke. However, it didn't look dry yet. Wait, that... She looked back and realized the same, and most of the ceiling lights were off, like they had been in the morning. It's the smoke, right? Yeah, but doesn't it look different? What? I'm not sure where we are. I just appeared here too. Could we have been back at the beginning? Before asking anything else, I got closer to the hallway. The sound from the other side caused me to stop. The door had closed. It seemed like nobody was coming, so I slowly continued until I gripped the knob. Then, when I looked through the door, a dark fog clouded my vision. Oh, fuck, don't breathe. Oh, what? Erina, Isla, and Sai were on the floor. It was the start of the incident. I couldn't believe it. I'd been so close to escaping, but it hadn't been permitted. I had no idea what was ahead of me anymore, but the tower held me in its grip like a python. I lowered my head and saw my own hand. Exposed to the light, I could see the injury was still gone. Then I noticed something else. I wasn't hungry or tired anymore. Those sensations had also disappeared. Are we on the morning of the 15th? I turned around warily. Shira was there, but I still felt that something about her was different. She didn't feel like the person I'd entered the tower with. Are you really Shira? The real one? What does that mean? Who else would I be? What do you remember? Please, tell me everything. What? I don't know what you mean. We got trapped here and a bunch of things happened. What happened? How did you end up here? A lot of things. Do you remember everything? Late into the day we were in the lobby and I went to the bathroom. There I activated the Sekimeiya and appeared on the 30th of November below that gem shop. Then, a few days later, I entered the tower and touched the Sekimeiya. That's how I just appeared here. Okay, wait. So, going to... Okay. Yeah, that makes total sense. So that means, obviously, Shira didn't appear on the 30th. We know she appeared... I don't know the exact date anymore. Was it like the 28th of December or something like that? She appeared at the end of December. A few days later, she entered the tower. That's where Atsuki was as well after he traveled to the future on the 5th of January. Then Atsuki traveled back to just before 9 p.m. Arrived in the lobby of the tower. Heard Shira entering the tower through the secret storeroom passage. Shira went to, I think, the event room. Touched the Sekimeiya. Both of them were encompassed in the travel range. Both of them appear back here on the first day. Okay. Wait, that's all? What about appearing after you'd gone to the bathroom? Do you remember that? What? No. I found the Sekimeiya in the toilet's water tank and went a long way into the past. Are you really the real Shira? I don't really understand what you're telling me. She stared at me with confusion, as if she had no idea why I was so skeptical. Wait a second. That sound from before was a door, right? It sounded like it came from the right wall. I think so? It must have been that one then. That's where Naomi died and where I traveled for the first time. If the smoke was just released, someone might have just been there since it's where the temperature regulation cabinets are. Were we really at the beginning, just like that? Didn't make any sense. If we had always been present, we would have been found on many occasions. Would we change the past then? I really wanted Shira to be telling the truth. If she was, we would get through everything, but I knew she had kept the truth from me before and I'd believed her. We might have just heard the culprit. I have no idea why we're here, but only a few people should be conscious at this time. I couldn't hesitate. The real culprit, the person who had broken the storeroom's handle, could have been present. Low to the ground, I scurried to the crystal room. I turned to Shira, who was following me. At that point, I noticed something intriguing, but I couldn't stop there. We entered the room and I closed the door behind us. Did you see the door to the lobby? What about it? We just left it open. Oh, does that matter? You remember, right? When we met everyone else, Sai pointed out that it was open, and Kate said that it was his doing. I'm pretty sure it looked exactly the way we just left it. I see what you mean, but please answer one thing for me. Why are we here? Did something happen after I traveled to the past? Are you telling me the truth? Do you not know what happened after? I don't, I just told you. I appeared on the 30th of November. I stayed in my apartment while my past self was in the hospital, and a few days later I entered the tower. I have no idea what happened there though. The Sekimeiya was already in the cabinet, and I touched it since nobody was in the security room. After that I appeared in the lobby with you. Now we're here. I didn't know what to think. While I was aware such lengthy travels were possible, what she was saying didn't sound right. Had she traveled to the future from early December? Why had we appeared at the same time then? But it was impossible for me to think she was lying. Her voice sounded as sincere as always. When I'd activated the Sekimeiya from room B5, had I perhaps traveled to the first days of December? I was incredibly confused. If she was telling the truth, I couldn't explain what had happened to me. Wait, you said you traveled to the 30th. Did you try to save Mia? I couldn't. I appeared too late for that, but I did change the past. She cut herself off, as if doubting what she was saying. I'm trying to understand what you've said. Don't worry, even I don't understand anything of what I lived through. I'm not lying though. Then, I'm not sure it would help if I told you what happened after you left. Another version of you was there, but it wasn't you, right? No, I have no idea who that was. Well, we weren't able to leave when the time came. I'm not sure what happened, why or how, but the lights went off and we couldn't get out. You remember the recording, right? It was real. Wait, what? Yes, it did happen. It wasn't a trick. It still doesn't make any sense though. I can't wrap my head around what happened. You said that you touched the Sekimeiya in the event room days before the 15th, right? Yes. I see. The fuck then? I don't get anything. I thought I might have been caught up in your travel and both of us appeared in front of the hallway B door, the location where we were on the morning of the 15th. But that makes no sense. And look at my clothes. I wasn't wearing these on the 15th. You're right, actually. Were you wearing them when you touched Sekimeiya? As she shook her head, my attention was grabbed by a cabinet I recognized. That's where the Sekimeiya was, right? Yes, and look at the wheel. It's said to be cold. Oh, and it's not damaged yet. Wasn't this the one with a crack? Yes, it was. I unlocked its lid and both of us looked inside. What? I don't get it. Sekimeiya was there. Someone must have left it here. Yes, which is what I don't get. When we woke up, it was in the event room, still in its cabinet. Oh, right. I took the Sekimeiya out. Although the cabinet had been set to 0 degrees, it wasn't cold, likely because it had been recently set. In contrast though, the Sekimeiya was burning, forcing me to double layer the cloth of my sleeves. It's set to 0 degrees, but the cabinet isn't cold at all. It could have been set just now, so it didn't have enough time to cool off. God, the Sekimeiya is burning though. Shira reached out to me and I reflexively jumped back a bit. She didn't do anything though. Sorry, when I touched it in the bathroom, its surroundings were incredibly hot. I could feel the heat, but it's nothing like then. Do you know more about how the Sekimeiya works? No, nothing, and even less after what you've with what you've told me. It's working, so if we're really at the start of the incident, wouldn't touching it put us outside? Maybe. That's what I was thinking. It should be hot enough for that. Once again, the chance to escape had appeared right in front of me. Could it have finally been a genuine opportunity? Let's touch it. I nodded and got close to her. Slowly, my hand reached for the Sekimeiya in defiance of the burning aura around it. However, the instant I contacted the gemstone, it vanished. Huh? Sekimeiya wasn't there anymore. We hadn't appeared anywhere else either, as I could still feel the burn on my fingers. This is what happened before. It teleported and we didn't travel. Oh. Couldn't believe it. All we wanted was to leave that place, but it was a hope constantly rebuilt only to be repeatedly crushed. Oh, wait, no, it can't be that. I followed Shira's eyes and almost fell back from the shock. The cabinet had closed and the curtain neatly covered it again. What the fuck? It didn't fall, right? She denied it. The cabinet had closed without making a sound. Could we have traveled back in time to a point before I'd unlocked it? Why hadn't we teleported though? Suddenly, we turned to the door. Someone was running through the hallway. As they did, we ran to grab the doorknob and open the door. A bit of smoke remained in the air and nobody could be seen. It didn't seem like we'd gone to the past. However, those rapid footsteps were still audible in the distance. It had to be the person responsible for our imprisonment. We ran behind the sound, covering our faces. They had gone up the stairs and the grey door was unlocked. We went up, hearing the echoing steps far ahead. They were going to the attic, we couldn't slow down. Oh, they're the ones who were chasing Naomi. Huh. Okay. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Okay. When we got to the 6th floor, though, the crack of a door closing resounded through the air. We hadn't been fast enough. Damn it. As expected, the attic door was locked. Had it been Naomi? She had been the one with the key. Frustrated, I looked at Shira, who had a key in her hand. What? Why do you have it? I don't know. I found it when I entered the tower in the mechanical room. I found the rusty key in a drawer in the security room as well, but how is it possible I still have them when my clothes completely changed? I frowned along with her, as it sounded very strange. She hurried to unlock the door and revealed the narrow staircase. Barely any light illuminated the steps. Following Shira, I began to silently ascend them. When she reached the top, Shira looked through the small gap between the door and wall. Actually, before we continue with that, let me just quickly check something, because I'm curious. Where was it? It should have been near the end of here. I think it's this section where Naomi ran up. But where exactly? Okay, this is where she's in the attic. Okay, she didn't lock the door. Wait, she didn't lock what door? Oh, the grey door, right, the one from 1st to 2nd floor, yeah. I just want to know how it ended. She locked that door, the attic door, yes. She saw 2 identical gemstones. Okay, the suitcase was hot. Both Sekimeiya vanished. Okay, Naomi teleported out of there, so Shira and Asuki aren't gonna find anything. Okay, her keys were also gone. Okay. Ah, yeah. Okay. So, what could have happened is she either traveled to the past or the future. We don't know. Potentially, it's more likely that she traveled to the past, because otherwise, why would we have found her dead body multiple times? That seems more likely. But she was in the past then, locked in the attic with no method of escape. So if she had no means of contacting anyone on the outside, and if no one checks the attic, she'll just die within, I mean, depending on if the water worked, a month from starvation, or if the water doesn't work, much quicker. So, okay, interesting. We'll keep that in mind. Then she turned to me. Huh, okay. Is this like a question, or is this multiple paths? Because, okay. At this is probably the point where Naomi touches the Sekimeiya. So it's quite logical that if it's that hot, it would also encompass us, or at least Shira, in a range. Apparently these are two choices here. I didn't expect chapter 5 to have different paths still, but okay. Which would we rather see first? I'm kind of curious to see what would happen with this one first. But before she could face me, she disappeared. Okay, so that seems like the real path, I'm gonna say. Because, you know, in a wrong quotation marks path, in the alternate endings, usually it immediately goes with like the strike through circle. I don't know what that's called. But actually then, in this last chapter, let me see the other path first. Because I feel like if because this is the last chapter, by the way. So I feel like it makes less sense to go to kind of like the end of the chapter and then go through the alternate options. I kind of feel like it makes more sense to go through them first. So let's do that. Yep. Okay. Okay, no, so this was actually... Okay, this was genuinely a question of... Did you... Okay. But I do want to see what it actually says. Okay, so this was kind of like the... Which situation did we have where it was like that? I don't remember. It was one of the first options as well in chapter 5. Your perception of what occurred is gravely mistaken. For Atsuki, Shiria's figure vanished. What? Did she travel? Is that what would have... Okay. So if I say that... Okay, yeah, so this is not an alternate ending, it's just a question. Okay, we'll go with that. What? Did she travel? I ran up the stairs and looked through the door. Nobody was there. But something was on the sofa that left me dazed. 2 Sekimeiya were there, and one of them was powered off. Next to them, I saw a set of keys. It was Naomi's. Is Naomi here? Did she touch that Sekimeiya, teleporting Shira away? Naomi and Shira had disappeared. However, Atsuki didn't know something else had too. With them, had also disappeared. Okay. Now, is that the amount of dashes there? Is that the right amount of letters, or is it just something else entirely? With them, something had also disappeared. Now, it would probably have to be something in the attic, or at least close to it. What? The suitcase? I mean, the suitcase had disappeared. That's clear. I don't know if that's what they're looking for. But that obviously disappeared, as we just saw. You know what? I'm not even going to think further about it. Suitcase is gone. Yep. There we go. Yes. Atsuki didn't see the suitcase Naomi had been holding. Both Sekimeiya lay alone on top of the sofa's cushion. Why are there two Sekimeiya? Were there two from the beginning? Is this really why Sai had one in his hip pack once? Where did Shira appear though? Could she be back on the crystal floor? So that's why the suitcase just appeared emptily in one of the hallways in like chapter 1, or did it appear in chapter 1? Probably, yeah. Where did Shira appear though? Could she be back on the crystal floor? I took a step back, hesitant to walk into the living room. My footprints would stay on the floor, and we'd never seen them. Wait, no. Shira couldn't have gone to the past. If she had, she would have shown up immediately after her disappearance, right? Could she have gone to the future? Is that really possible? Or what if she went far enough to the past to appear outside the tower? The range picked her up, but not me. It was likely not a very lengthy travel, but I'm not sure how much I can trust the range. And Naomi must have been here. Why did she run up to the attic with the Sekimeiya just to travel through time? She didn't know we'd unlocked the way in, so she might think she locked the Sekimeiya in here. Which is strange. After all, the attic was locked when you first came across the door. I don't get it. The Sekimeiya disappeared from the crystal room, and immediately Naomi was bringing two of them up. At the same time, another one must have been in its original cabinet. What the hell happened before we woke up? How many Sekimeiya are there? It was so confusing. Naomi had to still be in the tower, but if Shira also was, why had she not come back? Could they both have gone to the past, but only Naomi reappeared in the tower? Suddenly I realized I had to go back downstairs and found myself bolting out of the attic. The storeroom. Now I know it leads outside, and its handle must have been taken off at this time. If it was Naomi, I might get there before it happens. Shira could no longer have been in the building, but perhaps she was outside. As another chance to escape presented itself, I found myself gathering foolish hope once more. Almost no smoke hung in the air, and I could hear people on the same floor. I was not the only person there, but my only interest was the room I ran to. In the storeroom, I rapidly shut myself behind a secret wall and approached the door. In the dark, I felt it for its handle. Okay. Would the handle have been there or not? I'm just gonna assume it's not, because why not destroy his last hope some more? I don't actually know. I don't really have in my head the timeline of when the handle would have come off or when it was on, really, and who did that and why. So there's probably not even much of a point of me thinking about it, although I will just check in like chapter 1 to see. How many are there? 51? God. Okay, there's too many handles. Yeah, I'm probably not finding much. I'm just gonna say it wasn't there. Wait. Why does it say... Is it just gonna completely ignore me? Normally, at least it says, hey, you were wrong, but let's continue. This time it doesn't even say that. It's just like, yeah, whatever. Whatever. Okay, you know what? Then I'm actually gonna... If it's gonna ignore me anyway... Oh, it actually... Oh, interesting. It quickly flashed the door. I did do that when I chose the other thing as well. I didn't notice that. It's here. I can leave. I couldn't believe it, but I gripped the handle and turned it with all my might. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. I knew he wasn't going to leave. Well, I say I knew. I figured he wasn't going to leave. But it's because the door is locked, not because the handle's missing. You've got to be kidding me. It's locked. Wait, no, of course it is. That's why it was ripped off, so that we couldn't unlock it with the key that we found. I ran back to the hallway. We'd found the rusty key on the floor in front of the event room. If I get it and unlock the door, I'll definitely be changing the past, won't I? The police might even see me and set everyone free. All of that no longer mattered. The real Shira had likely appeared somewhere, and I had a definite avenue of escape. I wasn't even aware of the possible consequences that would come, so I couldn't care about them. They were abstract things, and escaping was concrete. Where the fuck is it? It was right here. There was very little light, but I couldn't see the key anywhere. The fuck? I just want to leave. I didn't want to accept it, but the key wasn't there. Is it not dropped yet? Although it was ridiculous, I went back to the chilly storeroom. Perhaps that was dangerous, but the culprit had to arrive there relatively soon to detach the handle. Wait, is that right? Will the culprit really come in here? When you found the secret wall, a single set of fingerprints was on it, meaning that it had been opened one time in the recent past, and that was not himself? I swear I just saw those same fingerprints right now. So did he just not leave any fingerprints? Does that mean that nobody will come until our past selves find the mechanism? Alternatively, what if they came from outside and won't touch the other side of the wall? This doesn't make any sense though. How is it possible we only saw one set of fingerprints? What about the ones I must have left just now? Yep, there we go. It was so strange. Did it mean that the past had changed? Was everything going to happen differently? And where the hell is Shira? If she somehow went to the future, she'll definitely come here when she appears. Is it possible she's outside and won't tell the police just so she can avoid changing the past? The key isn't in the hallway. The handle hasn't been taken off. I left extra fingerprints and 2 Sekimeiya in the attic. This cannot be the same morning. After all, if I'd been here since the start, I would have been found. So what the hell is going to happen? Is everything going to be different? What about our past selves? If the past was changed somewhere, I'm no longer the other Atsuki who's currently here. I had to stay in the storeroom, merely hoping Shira would come. I had no desire to go back to the attic either. The Sekimeiya would clearly never aid us, and I didn't want anyone to slip into the storeroom while I wasn't present. What the hell is all of this? When I finally found Shira, she suddenly disappeared. There's no way I'm going to spend 12 more hours here from the start, and I have no idea what the fuck is even going to happen. How did everything turn to this so quickly? I took a moment to breathe and calm myself. Panicking wasn't going to get me anywhere. Didn't Shira say that she'd found the rusty key in a security room drawer? What if it was her who changed the past? If she grabbed it days ago, it wouldn't be in hallway A now. And if the world changed independent of her actions, could the key currently be in the security room? I can't try to find it before everyone wakes up because the alarm locked the room. The key was in the security room days ago. Kate was surely who dropped it then. It was earlier than I'd anticipated when sound came from the hallway. From the lobby side, a group of people approached where I was. Huh? Is that everyone? This isn't what we did. We went to the security room the first time we stepped into this hallway. However, the steps went to the crystal room in front of me. That's the room where the gemstones were stolen. Why did they go there without entering the security room first? From behind the wall, I was able to pick up a voice. It was Sai's, although I couldn't make out the words. Do they know what happened there? Why though? That's so strange. They left the room not long after and walked closer to the stairs. That's Kate talking, isn't it? I focused as much as I could to understand what he was saying. Elevator won't move. Disabled it. Sorry, Isla, but there's no... The hell? It's entirely different from what we experienced. Everyone went up the stairs, leaving behind the bizarre silence. They didn't even unlock the security room, so I can't go see if the key's there. It was evident there had been a change in history, but where? I hadn't willingly changed the past, so someone else must have. Why had it had such a particular effect on me, though? Did I possess memories of the past reality because I travelled from it? That didn't quite make sense, but I knew the answer wouldn't be simple regardless. Is that it? Did a person alter reality, or is what happened something else? But most importantly, what was I supposed to do? I had no idea. Nothing was guaranteed. If the past had already changed, no matter what I do, I'll have no direct relation to the Atsuki who just went up. That means my priority should be to find Shira, who's in the same position as me. Where could she be? If she traveled through time and another deviation occurred, she might not exist in this world anymore. Assuming that was actually the case, was finding her conceivable in the first place? I couldn't even know that, seeing as I was already neck deep in a nonsensical. Once again, I didn't have to wait very long before I heard some of the others come back. Who's that? It's not everyone who went up. Quietly, they walked past the storeroom. Following them, another person came from the stairs, crossing in front of the storeroom. A few seconds later, someone else did too, but they didn't enter hallway A. What the hell is happening here? Why is everyone silently walking around on their own? At some point, someone briefly entered the storeroom and left without saying anything. After listening for a few minutes, everything occurred in reverse. Several footsteps went up the stairs in a small group. A bit later, I heard a single person going up, followed by another shortly after that. What the fuck just happened? Is everyone gone again? Nothing else could be heard on the crystal floor, but I had no idea what any of those people had done or who they'd been. The silence continued for some time, and eventually I was tempted to step out. Multiple people had walked toward the security room, but I didn't know if they'd entered it. Could one of them have been Kate? Nobody seems to be here, so I could go check if it's unlocked. I stepped out of the secret corridor and opened the way out just a crack. Nobody was in hallway C. I slowly walked the other way. When I tried to open the security room, I found it to be unlocked. Oh, all the screens are off. This is what happened to us. They all shut down at the same time. It seems it happened again despite all the differences. I couldn't waste time, so I hurried over to the drawers. Doubt it's still here. What's most likely is that Kate has... I cut myself off. The key was there, deep within a drawer. Although I could no longer be certain that leaving the tower was what I had to do, I couldn't help but feel a brief thrill at the prospect. Was the universe going to allow it for once? Back in the storeroom, I walked to the hidden door, nearly out of breath. The handle was there, and so was the keyhole. I inserted the key, which confirmed it was the right one. Really? Is leaving this place simply not possible? It wasn't working. Although the key was the right one, it wasn't unlocking the door. This is absurd. What the fuck am I supposed to do? Do I wait 12 more hours here hoping Shira will just appear and the exit will open? And then what? Two versions of us remain forever? This is ridiculous. There has to be something we can do. I had the rusty key, so an old thought came back to me. Unless I go back to thinking about thought up loops, I suppose, there could be something that would work. The culprit took the rusty key after killing Kate and walked out of the tower through the storeroom door, which was open. That created a location outside the tower where they were holding the key that could be replicated. Then they re-entered and used the Sekimeiya to go back in time. In the past, they appeared outside the tower holding the key, so they were able to unlock the door and re-enter with something they'd obtained outside, like a knife. They left the door open so that their past self could exit with the key and create the replicated location. Could I pull off something like that after all? I still have no idea how the replicated location works, but I could try it. I'll step out and spend a long time outside holding the key. Then I'll re-enter and travel to the past as many times as needed to appear outside holding the key so that I can unlock the door and let my past self out. I can't really construct it in a cleaner way. I stepped out of the secret partition so that another self of mine could unlock the door without alerting me. My knocks from before would be their cue to do it. Great, I'm just gonna be here all my life. I knew that feeling all too well. My plan had failed, but I couldn't know why. It could have been viable, but if the police or citizens were observing the surroundings of the tower, for example, it probably would never have worked. It was possible I wouldn't have been able to unlock the door from outside either. I sat down, defeated. I stayed on the cold floor waiting for the door to open. It seemed the last hope that remained entailed being able to leave at 9 PM. Was that going to happen, or was I going to wait another 12 hours just to be faked out again? And would the secret door ever open? Would I ever see the Shira I'd just been with again? I didn't bother thinking. There was nothing else I felt compelled to solve, as the march of time alone would decide everything. Soon after I rested my jaw on my knees, I heard people returning to the crystal floor. I knew everyone was outside, but I didn't want to show myself. If I had to wait all day again, I would do it peacefully, alone. When I stored the key in my pocket, I noticed something else. Another key had disappeared, the one that opened the locker that wasn't Naomi's. When had it disappeared? I'd only just realized it, but it must have been a result of one of my last 2 travels. I heard faint voices sporadically, but I had no real idea of what was happening in the building. Once some time had passed, only occasional footsteps met my ears. My body began to feel noticeably chilled, so I tried to cover myself well. Shira wasn't coming, that was very clear. Was Naomi present, though? I hadn't heard anything regarding her. What about the Sekimeiya? During the prolonged silence, I considered trying to find it. If 2 existed, obtaining a single one might have been easy. Nobody knew about the hidden partition I was in, so I could hide it there. I knew that would have only added complications, though. Escaping the building by touching the Sekimeiya couldn't be possible. When that was supposed to occur, the Sekimeiya vanished instead. What the hell had happened at that time? Why had the cabinet state reverted? Without a thorough understanding of the Sekimeiya's powers, I couldn't begin to use it. So I stayed there, ignorant to the actual time. However, I could tell that a few hours had passed. It had been a while since I'd heard anyone's voice. Only individual steps had crossed the hallway here and there. Hey, the fuck, where have you? I looked at the door. It was Sai's voice, which I hadn't heard in a long time. There was no immediate response that I could hear, but I remained attentive. Had Sai seen someone who hadn't been there for a long time? My mind immediately went to Naomi. I wasn't able to properly distinguish anything else, but I could at least tell that a group was in the hallway. I'd only understood Sai due to his volume. A few minutes later, even those faint signs of life faded out. Are they not there anymore? I think that last scene was when Shira somehow traveled back to the future, to the past. I don't know. I think it was where they found Shira again. Or was it Akaro? They found someone again. I don't remember which exact scene it was. But Asuka was just chilling in the secret passage this whole time, apparently. It didn't seem so. Leaning against the wall, I attempted to think about nothing. Minutes later, a couple sets of footsteps approached from the far end of the hallway. As always, my eyes instinctively turned to the door. It's certainly put on this floor. Don't move through. Is that me? Okay. What? That voice. Ah, okay. Purely based on him saying that it has to be Mia. There's no way it's anyone else. He wouldn't react like that if it was anyone else. My first thought was Shira, but nah, it's 100% Mia. Yeah, that's just purely based on reaction. Is that Mia? Must be mistaken. Suddenly, the storeroom door opened, and I had to fight to contain my panic. It appeared my past self was looking for something, as he quickly moved on to the next crystal room. I've been thinking that for like the past 15 minutes, but I thought it was fairly obvious that we're in sort of the chapter 2 area, or timeline as you could call it, where Mia is in the tower with Atsuki. Or entered the tower with Atsuki to begin with. It was her, wasn't it? It was only one word, but wasn't that her voice? While it seemed impossible, her existence in the tower had been mentioned before. Erina, Sai, and Akira had all claimed to have seen her. Is she there, on the other side of the door? Multiple people emerged from the lobby side and stopped in hallway C. Meanwhile, I could hear doors being opened. You hear that? What? No? What are they doing? Searching for the Sekimeiya? Stayed. Look at the That was my voice again. I think they moved over to hallway B. Right, let's go. And now they're going up. I emerged from the hidden area so that I could hear a little bit better. It seemed everyone was walking up the stairs. Had I heard Mia? If she was there, I had to see her. And that probably brings us to that one image we saw of Atsuki with Mia encountering the second Atsuki. I kind of remember all of these scenes out of context. I can't really tell how they all connect, but I remember them. I closed the secret wall. I assumed everyone's backs were facing me, so I peeked out from behind the door. If Mia was with them, I didn't mind being seen, but half of me thought my mind had played a trick on me. Most of them had turned past the grey door. I could only see Sai's legs slowly disappearing. I approached the stairs, hoping I could watch them from a distance. However, all of a sudden, Sai stopped. Had he heard me? I stepped aside reflexively. What's up? Akira, why is that door open? Shit, they noticed me. As their suspicion grew, I stepped back several times. By the time they came back down, I was in hallway B. Sai and Akira approached the storeroom and were followed by Kate, Erina, and Isla. What about Mia? Is she not here? My past self isn't either. I couldn't see what was happening from where I was, but suddenly I heard gasps. What? I got closer and shut my eyes in regret when I saw what they were looking at. They'd found the secret corridor. What the fuck do I do now? There's nowhere else to hide. I looked around in desperation. I could never hide in a bathroom, as Kate would unlock it. I saw the elevator was open. It was working, and the others had definitely been in the process of searching the whole building. Did I really mishear that? Is that not Mia? Where is my other self then? What about the past Shira? She isn't here either. I walked to the event room, as it made for an easy bridge between the hallways. Just to check, I uncovered the curtain. The Sekimeiya wasn't there. I'm not going to spend hours trying to hide from everyone. If I'm found, I'll explain what happened to me. At least a few of them were still in the storeroom, discussing what they'd found. Some minutes later, I was surprised by the sound of someone walking through hallway A. What was strange was that they'd come from the lobby side. They'd come out of a crystal room to my left. Was someone in there? Whoever it was had walked to the storeroom, but all the voices I could make out were too muffled. Eventually, I stopped sensing people in the hallway. Did they go anywhere? Just in case, I left through the other side. Yeah, they're not there anymore. Where did they go? There's no way they opened the door out, is there? They hadn't. It was still locked. Maybe they continued going up? I stared at the crystal rooms in hallway A. There was only one farther ahead on the same wall as the event room, A1. That person. Did they come out of here? It was a little strange. After all, I knew the floor had just been inspected, and since the others had been about to go up, it was likely they hadn't found whatever they'd been searching for. I hadn't heard anyone entering the room, so if someone had left it, they must have been there for a while. That was what I found odd. The curtains were raised, showing that the cabinets had recently been looked into. Curious, I went ahead and opened them. I was surprised to find out my suspicion had been on the mark. A Sekimeiya was inside one of the cabinets. What the hell? Did someone manage to hide it despite the search? I knew an identical gemstone existed, so I went through the remaining cabinets until I was confident that it was the only Sekimeiya in the room. Should I take it? Now that I can't stay in the storeroom, it might be useful to keep it. Unsure, I reached in to grab it, and as I took it out, I was reminded of an unexplained problem. It's not hot at all. That means it's not currently working, but it should be. This is what happens sometimes. The Sekimeiya remained cold outside the cabinet, and touching it didn't do anything. Would it be that out of the two Sekimeiya only one works? That sounded like a plausible idea, but it was denied by the time a Sekimeiya had appeared inactive in Sai's hip pack. It was useless, and I didn't want to give myself another headache trying to resolve it. That was why I put it back where I'd found it. I wonder who hid it here, though. Where do I even go? The tower was being inspected, so I figured the least likely places to be revisited were the bathrooms on floor 2. I shoved myself inside one. I'll definitely be found eventually, no matter where I stay. Was that voice really Mia's? I need to know that. It couldn't have been anyone else. If it wasn't my imagination, it was a real Mia. I had no idea why she would be there, but if she was, that was the biggest question of them all. It's likely they'll all come back down. If she's here, I'll be able to see her. She wasn't with the others in the storeroom, though. My past self and Shira were missing too. They haven't come back yet. This means they have access to the attic. I decided that if nobody came after a while, I would quietly go up to see if I could find everyone. But soon after that resolution, I thought I might have heard someone just outside the bathroom, separated from the rest. Did someone go to the crystal floor? I went out and walked halfway down the stairs. Through the grey door, I saw Sai in hallway A, going from room to room. What the hell is he doing now? And what the hell is everyone else doing, letting him roam around freely? Was he the person who came out of that crystal room? If he travelled through time, he could have been there and in the storeroom at the same time. However, everyone must have seen that person when they left A1, meaning that it was likely not someone who was also in the storeroom. Otherwise they would have reacted, and I guess it would have been a paradox. This is strange. He's likely searching for the Sekimeiya, which means he's not who hid it in that cabinet. However, a search just happened, so why is he doing this? Does he not trust the results? I guess that's not all. There must be another Sekimeiya somewhere. I stepped away. I could still hear him moving downstairs, but the others could have suddenly appeared. I kept waiting in the bathroom. If Sai sneaked away, they'll notice it pretty quickly. He probably came down to search for himself, and he might find the Sekimeiya I saw. I wonder what he'll do if he actually does. It wasn't working, so we won't be able to activate it. The sound of his movements no longer reached me. Amused by the fact that I could still be patient, I waited for something to happen. I don't know what Sai's intentions could be. Surely he still has to learn everything about the Sekimeiya, but what is his ultimate goal? He was trying to achieve something all day, but I have no idea what. Is that someone above me? For a second, I could discern footsteps coming from the ceiling. Is it the others? The sound grew clearer. A group of people was coming down. Once they went down the stairs, I slowly opened the door. I walked to the door, but I couldn't see anyone in hallway A. They're not in hallway C either? Any of the... Can you hear... Akro's voice came from hallway B. From the stairs, however, I couldn't see anyone. I chose not to step down. If I was more patient, I would see them from afar without showing myself. The hell? Seriously burning. Wait, did Kate find the Sekimeiya in hallway B? There? And that's me. My past self is with them this time. Where the hell is Sai, though? I have no clue. Either. Need to leave this. They're walking away. The sound of their footsteps was fading when all of a sudden a sharp sound split the air. What was that? It came from hallway B too. I couldn't hear the others anymore. After waiting a bit behind the door, I stepped down cautiously. It sounded like something fell to the floor. It didn't seem like anyone was still there. After that sound, the crystal floor's characteristic silence had arisen. Keeping myself hidden, I peeked into hallway B. Nobody was there, but I saw what had hit the floor next to the event room. Wait. I mean, there's not too many things it could be. Immediately, the first two things that came to mind were a Sekimeiya and a dead body. The third thing that I just thought of was a suitcase. It would be kind of funny to be the answer twice in a row. But it is possible. It could also be a key. Now, I have too many options. This is chapter 2, about pretty far down. There's no way I'm finding that. Let me actually check something. You know what? Okay. What are they talking about? Someone was holding a Sekimeiya. Kate. Yep, okay. Oh, is that when, like, the Sekimeiya just vanished out of his hands? Okay. Yep. Sekimeiya disappeared. So, the most likely scenario is that they traveled and the power of Sekimeiya is what dropped. So I think the answer is it was a Sekimeiya that dropped. So I'm gonna say that. Yep. There we go. Smart thinking. I'm doing well in this episode, at least. What just happened? Did they touch it so it fell when they disappeared? That doesn't make sense, though. I feel like we've had plenty of instances where the Sekimeiya itself hadn't teleported, such as just like maybe 15 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago, where Naomi touched the Sekimeiya in the attic and the Sekimeiya didn't teleport. So answer 4, I'm gonna cross that out. Answer 3, because of its color. Now, what I don't know is what color the Sekimeiya currently has. It is a reasonable explanation for why that couldn't have been the case if it's still glowing, but I don't know if it is. So I can't exclude it per se, but we'll look at the other two, because the Sekimeiya shouldn't have worked. That's not true, because it was definitely glowing when Kate held it. If there's another reason why it shouldn't have worked, I don't know. Because they would have come back here after appearing in the past is not necessarily the case if they didn't travel to the past but to the future instead. So I think... It depends on what Atsuki is thinking. Or, well, not what he's thinking. It depends on what Atsuki in this... what this Atsuki knows about the Sekimeiya. Because I don't remember if this Atsuki knows that one of the Sekimeiyas allows you to travel to the future. If he doesn't know that, then answer 1 is a perfectly reasonable thing to think about. But I feel like with our knowledge, I can exclude everything apart from because of its color, because I just don't know its color. So I kind of want to say that. Yep, knew it. It's color. It's white.